Welcome to the Risk of Insanity podcast. This is Alex.
And I'm Shondor. Today we're going to be talking about fear.
Fear. I mean, it's something we experience almost every day. Okay, I don't know about every day, but it's definitely a normal occurrence in human life, right?
Absolutely. It's just constantly with us, and you might not even realize it sometimes. But I think it's important to us to understand what we label as fear. So, what would you define as fear?
I mean, to me, fear and worry to me are like misuse of imagination.
Define the misuse here.
It's I say misuse of imagination because you're really okay. If you're gonna go skydiving, you're gonna feel fear, right?
Of course,
I mean, most
if
people,
you're
especially it's your first time.
scared of
Yeah.
heights as well.
I mean, yeah, especially if you're scared of heights. But I mean, you're gonna feel fear. But you know, kind of the reason why I use this example is because actually Will Smith does a beautiful example about this. He's all about why are you scared? Why are you scared the night before? Why can't you sleep? Because of fear. Oh, why are you scared during breakfast? Why can't you eat? Why do you feel sick? All up until jumping out that plane, why the hell are you scared? Like it's just ruining your day. And then his thing was like, because I mean he went skydiving for the first time as a older gentleman, and he's like, and then you jump out the plane, and it's one of the most blissful experiences of your whole entire life, and there's no fear.
Absolutely, and I think that gets into how you deal with fear and what the root causes of fear are, and which we'll get into later. But
Actually, I'm sorry. Just real quick, I think I didn't quite answer your question there though. I think the fear is almost projecting what you think is going to happen, what you think could go wrong, and believing that's going to happen, and that's the fear. Sorry, that was the whole point of that.
Of course, so you think that fear is an exaggeration of the worst possible outcome that can happen, and projecting it in your head because it is uncertain of what's going to happen or what can happen given a certain circumstance. So you project this image in your mind that
This imaginative scenario, and I mean, yeah, it's a possibility, but getting in a car crash and not coming home anytime you get in your car and you leave is a possibility. But do we fear that?
I mean, I personally don't, but I think that's because I've gotten accustomed to just being in the car. I know there was a fatal car accident in Lakewood, my hometown. For those that don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and when I heard about it, actually, sorry, I misspoke. A couple months ago.
Okay, I was gonna say there was another one. Okay, yeah,
but
carry on.
But after that happened, when I got into the car the next time, it kind of rattled me because it reignited that sense of, oh, this is technically something that could happen.
Yeah.
But when you're not thinking about things like that because you're so accustomed to doing things, that fear just evaporates.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the it's almost that you've done it so many times and nothing really bad happened. But I feel you on that. It kind of rattled you when that person T-boned me when going 60, 70 miles an hour, and I was just going across an intersection. Yeah, after that it was kind of weird driving. Even now, if like something quick moves out of the corner of my eye, occasionally I have like the oh my god flinch, and like I look over, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm fine.
Yeah, I know. I definitely feel that from my racing days. Any little movement in the back because I didn't have any mirrors in those cars.
And so, like, yeah, you're like you train yourself to look out of the corner of your eyes in those scenarios. And
absolutely.
Oh yeah, and getting rear end in those quarter midgets and go karts. Oh, that's not fun.
Not at all.
No.
So now that we've defined fear, what do you think the root causes of fear are?
Oh my god, the root causes of fear. I mean, I think the easiest one and the one we easily can jump to is the fear of death. People don't want to die. The Marines actually have a saying that everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Which I just find it very interesting.
That is a very fascinating
it's
saying.
because I mean, yeah, it's true. It's weirdly very true. You know, everyone wants this blissful place after death, but nobody wants to die. You know,
So is
we
the
have this
fear of
inherent
death
want to live.
So is this fear of death the root cause of all fears? Or do certain fears have a different root cause, but it's rooted in an uncertainty of what's going to happen that could negatively impact you?
I think you're onto something there with the uncertainty. I mean, I think we can agree on that. You know, the uncertainty in life is kind of what brings on anxiety and fear for people. You know, the uncertainty of uh, I don't know, the uncertainty of is this roller coaster bar actually gonna hold me in the roller coaster? Um, I'm struggling to think of other examples. Can
And
you
of
think
course,
of
going
some?
off with that roller coaster example, though, it's that uncertainty, especially if you're going on a roller coaster for the first time. You don't know if it's going to hold you, and simply because you might have seen other people do it, but you personally haven't experienced it.
Yeah,
And I think the
yeah.
experience of anything will help you overcome your fears because you're getting accustomed. You're getting that experience that uh, um, it's not uncertain. It's certain at that point because you've experienced it.
Well, it becomes more certain. You know, there's always the probability aspect, you know, the percentage likelihood of something happening, the percentage likelihood of you getting hit by another car when you're in a car, the percentage likelihood of you dying on a roller coaster, which, I mean, we looked it up. I forget what it was.
3 people annually.
It was three? What was the sixth number? Was that the spider bite
That
one?
was the
That was
spider
the spider
bites.
bite one. Yeah, he got bit by a spider and got cellulitis and almost died a couple weeks ago. But it's fine, guys. He's cool.
I overcame my fear of dying.
And he didn't become a statistic. Wonderful. But yeah, okay, so 3 people a year die on a roller coaster. So yeah, there technically is still that probability.
But that goes to show that nothing is 100% certain
Oh
either.
yeah, yeah. I and you know it's yeah, nothing is 100% certain, but we all value certainty to a different degree, and all chase our our own values. Whatever we do have as a value, we all value everything differently, and then we also kind of have different rules of thumb in ways of chasing those values. And you know, just like with the certainty, you know, that's the one we're talking about with fear right now. Um, you know, I guess for me, I value certainty a little bit less. You know, whereas someone who won't even like sit on a motorcycle, they
Mm-hmm.
don't value it at all.
And
Or
talking
they do,
about
I'm sorry, they do. You know what I mean, guys.
yeah, absolutely. And I think you bring up a great point about what you value is because I think these values are instilled in you at a young age. So how risk averse or risk seeking you are, which defines how much you like certainty or uncertainty, right? What you value there is kind of ingrained into you when you were younger based on
Yeah,
what your
yeah.
parents kind of taught
How
you as
yeah,
children.
well taught you and how they react to
Mm-hmm.
things when you do take a risk, things like that. But I mean, we're not psychologists, and even if psychologists tried to tell me exactly where you know that whole value comes from, I would probably find an argument with it. You know, how do you really know? Like, you know,
Absolutely. And this is once again not saying that you can't, just because certain values are ingrained in you have to stay with you. You can overcome them and change your values as you go on,
oh, absolutely.
become more risk averse, less risk averse, whichever one you choose. But just understanding how your past has influenced how risk averse you are, in that
Mm-hmm.
influences your level of wanting certainty or not needing certainty, which leads into
I,
fear. It's
I,
all this big cycle.
yeah, and I really want to backtrack to what you said there of choosing to either become more uh, risk averse or embrace more risk. Because I mean, yeah, I think the whole risk thing, it you know, it's different for different parts of life. And I noticed for some parts of my life that I also had to kind of take a step back and not be so risky in those situations. And other scenarios, I've really kind of, I guess, pushed myself to take more risk, because really, by taking some risk, is really where you're pushing your comfort zone, where you're learning, because by pushing that comfort zone, eventually, like, with your comfort zone, the more you push it, the bigger your comfort zone gets, and then what really isn't inside your comfort zone, and that makes a lot of things a whole lot less scary. It makes you fear things a whole lot less.
Absolutely. I envision your comfort level as a huge circle around you. Well, it starts out smaller, and you kind of just bounce in different directions and expand the circle as you go. But going back to your experiences, are you comfortable sharing any specific example about when you felt like taking on more risk versus not taking on more risk in your life?
Um, wow, yeah, loaded question, I guess. In taking on more risk, I guess, yeah, it's very certain and easy to just go get a job. And I mean, even last year, especially for a 22-year-old, not even for a 22-year-old, I had a decent paying job. I could easily have lived off of that. And it was very scary, fearful, uncertain to try and go out on my own, to do day trading, to try to pursue my passion, which is trying to help people be the best that they can be, and really connect with their true selves. Um, yeah, it was very uncertain. But I mean, anyone who ever went out on their own or started a business, if they needed 100% certainty to go do it, they never would have done it. Not one. And I'm not going to say most wouldn't have. I'm literally going to say not one. Because it's just not going to happen. You could literally have extremely rich parents, wealthy parents, and it's still not certain. You might have a higher probability or likelihood, but no, it's still not certain. But I felt like that fear was worth it, worth the not even possible, the fulfillment that I could get from it, even if I'm not making that much. If I'm just making enough to survive, I believe I would still be happy with this.
So maybe it's important to consider then is that those that you take on more risk when you pursue something you truly want to do.
Yeah.
But when you don't value something as much as the certainty that some other route would provide, then you become less risk adverse and take the easier route per se, rather than go out and take the uncertain route because you don't value the end goal of that path, whatever it is, with a job, with a relationship, whatever it is, you don't
it just leads back to those
values.
Whether it's the value of certainty or the value of growth, or just whatever you value in your life. What is more valuable? Is the certainty going to be more valuable, or is fulfillment, is actual building actual genuine happiness and health in your life more important than that certainty? And for me, it was. So it wasn't a question of, do I do this? It became once I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and started talking about that and asking myself those questions. It was no longer if I'm gonna do this. It was when. And I kind of had to push when I had those 2 weeks off, because I had the COVID. I got the COVID. And of course, when I got it, my mom was going to the grocery store and asked me if I wanted anything, and I was like, give me a 6-pack of Corona. Just for the meme.
You can't go wrong with the Corona. It doesn't matter if you have COVID or not. Corona is
it tasted terrible because my taste wasn't right at the time. Like, it never went away completely, but it was not right. And when I took a swig of that Corona, very first swig, I was like, oh my god. Like, I'm not a big Corona fan to begin with, no, but that was a whole different level. I was like, well, screw it. You know, I opened it. I gotta finish it now.
Well, thank you for sharing a
Uh,
story of your of when you had to either take on more risk or be more risk adverse. So, with that being
I don't
said,
think I said anything about being more risk adverse.
well, you taking the risk of going out on your own or being less risk averse and just
Okay,
keeping
yeah,
your
yeah.
job,
I
right?
mean, for the risk adverse thing, I'd more say, like, you know, when I originally crashed my motorcycle, I realized, okay, I need to take a step back.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, but part of that was me finding my boundaries. I don't want to go too much into that, you
Of
know,
course, of
waste more
course.
time. But yeah, it was
Um,
partly finding the boundary there.
with that being said, now that we kind of understand that wanting certainty versus uncertainty is kind of could be a root cause for fears here, how how would you go about dealing with it? You know, what helped you overcome certain fears in your life?
Well, interestingly enough, I think we both talked about it like a couple minutes ago. Um, and the more you do something, the less fear, the less fearful you are when you do it. You know, the first time a 16-year-old drives a car. I mean, some are not, some are. They're fearful. They're scared of driving that car. I know your brother, for example.
My younger
Yeah,
brother.
your younger brother,
Okay.
Yoji. He didn't he didn't want to drive.
Yeah.
Now he's completely fine with it. Like,
Of course, and that just goes to show you again that he he even when we raced, he didn't want to race.
yeah.
So it reduced his drive time even then,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
now when he was able to get his license for road legal driving, you
Yeah.
know, it
He's like, oh no, people could just drive
yeah,
me around,
he
and we're like,
was
wait,
I
what?
think I think he had that fear of the uncertainty of I don't know how to do this properly.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think
is that what you think?
potentially because
Potentially, yeah.
he I mean
I,
obviously
I
we
think he was
could
just worried about almost a panic attack behind the wheel.
mhm.
But you know, that being said, and what he was worried about, I got very proud of him when he did go do the test and everything. I was like, I mean, how could you not be proud of someone like pushing their comfort zone like that? Like that is no matter, I don't care who you are, if I know you or not. Like, if you are out there pushing your comfort zone, like I'm clapping for you right now.
I think that's important
Like, that's
to
such a
push
good thing.
your comfort zone because that is the only way one of the ways that you can overcome your fear is because if you push your comfort zone and that uncertainty goes away because you've done things out of your comfort zone, then your fear reduces. You almost enjoy things more
Mm-hmm.
if you have had that fear block to it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Sorry, I kind of zoned out there for a sec. Uh,
You're good.
no, you're right, and it's why there's this one saying that I really like actually. That seek discomfort. I've literally seen people have tattoos of it. I mean, I've seen it around on the internet and stuff, on social media and other things, but I've seen it as a tattoo, and I love it. Seeking discomfort is where the growth happens. And as someone who really likes yoga, this is something we talk about in yoga too. Pain, okay, yeah, pain tells you to pull back a little bit. Pain is your body or your mind saying, this is a little bit much. Um, but discomfort, that's basically what you seek out in yoga, um, especially when you're starting out. Um, that discomfort is not only what changes and helps you mentally to grow, not only in yoga but outside of yoga, and I didn't realize that until later. Um, but it's what also physically pushes you to, or like causes the changes. Like, that discomfort is like telling your brain, like, hey, we need to change something here. We got to do something. And I mean, you could put that over to, lifting weights or doing calisthenics. It doesn't matter, and then put it into everyday life. It's that discomfort, even if it's getting out of your normal routine, is what is going to make changes in you.
Mm-hmm. I think you make a really good point there.
It was one that was actually one of the biggest things in like moving out of my hometown for the first time. Moving out of my parents' house for the first time. It was scary. Like, what is this thing called adulting? what what is adulting? Like, come on. Like, you made that joke so many times. Like, look at me out here adulting. Really, I was scared shitless. Oh, my bad. I'll bleep that out. But yeah, I was scared. But that discomfort. Oh my God, how much I grew during that time. Absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Absurd.
So coming off this comfort and discomfort topic here, do you think that within that discomfort and comfort and certainty and uncertainty, the aspect of control, people want control, and that's what the certainty and uncertainty come from. That's where the discomfort of not, let's say, having control, right?
Mm-hmm.
That fear is potentially wrapped up in not having control of everything. So,
I mean, yeah. If you have a lack of control, it's gonna be fearful. I think that's part of the whole roller coaster thing. It's not just the uncertainty of is this actually safe. It's you don't have control of the situation at all. I mean, it's following its track. It's going whatever speed it decides. You can't slow it down. There's no brake for you. Like there's no control in it, and you kind of have to like just let go.
mm-hmm.
You just have to relinquish that want for control.
And I feel like also that control also that aspect comes in because they're not the ones that made the roller coaster. They're not the ones that did the safety ratings. They're not the ones that did all this extra stuff. But then again, there's certain things that if you do yourself, you are in control but still have that fear.
Mm-hmm.
There was this really good post that I saw a while back that said that in an engineering class, a teacher had the students design an airplane, and at the end of the class took a trip and they got in the airplane, and the flight attendant announced that this plane is actually the plane that the class designed, and every single student got off the plane as fast as they could, but the teacher remained, and the flight attendant asked the teacher, "Why are you still on the plane?" And the teacher said, "I know the capabilities of my students. This plane won't even take off."
I don't know why that's so funny to me every time.
So just because you want that control, maybe it's not you actually doing things, it's understanding that the right people did the tasks.
Is it the right people? Yeah, I had something there in my head to say, but it just it literally went as fast as it came. But I guess there's almost a sense of weirdly a sense of trust for the universe, because and I say universe because there's no specific person in those kind of scenarios that you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to let go. You just have to live. I mean, you can't think of a life where you let all these fears basically control your decisions.
I've known people that's the case, and I think it's a shell of a life. You're not living your life to the fullest and experiencing everything you can, rather than living your life to the fullest, you kind of insulate yourself from these joyous experiences, and you might end up with regrets later in life.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say we're more, we take more risks than a lot of people. I can speak for myself that I very well know I do. And people, I have friends that they're very risk averse. Like, there's things that I don't even think of risky, and they will be like, nope, absolutely not.
Oh, would you share an example with us here? I know it's hard to think of things on the
it's kind of really hard to pinpoint things like that. I just I very well know some people in my life who they see me as one of the riskiest people out there. I'm like, I know people who take more risks and bigger risks than I do. It's just in my head, you take like no risk, like none, like maybe 1%.
I guess a good example of this could be as simple as crossing the street where there's no crosswalk.
Yeah, see, I'll do that. I don't care.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
that's
have
the thing.
friends that won't. They're like, oh, it doesn't say walk. I'm like,
Yeah,
so there's no car coming.
exactly.
Like, oh,
It's
but what if somebody like comes around that corner? I'm like, then you take your steps faster. Do you not control the speed that you move? Do they not have a brake pedal? Like, there, there's a lot of variables here. Yeah, one of the variables could be that they don't see you. Probability of a lot of stuff like that is pretty low, you know.
of course, of
And
course.
that's I guess the risk I'm willing to take.
Hmm.
But the whole thing with I guess my whole point with that was is crap. What was my point? Yeah, I
That
take a
some
lot of risks,
people, some
and some
people.
people don't understand it. But like, you're right. This was the point. Like, those friends that I have that like take no risks. It's basically all about their safety and why they don't do it. Am I sitting here talking right now? Am I healthy? Am I alive?
I hope
Yes.
so. Otherwise, I don't know who I am
So
talking to.
far, every risk I've taken, I've survived.
And I think that's what allows people to increase their level of risk seeking is having that more risky action, behavior, whatever it is, come to fruition, and then being okay with it, and then being more comfortable with it, and doing more things that might be a little more risky. Obviously, people should know their limits,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
important to push yourself to feed into that uncomfortability, uncertainty, because it will grow you as a person
definitely.
and grow your experiences as a whole that will have you uh, make a more fulfilling life for you.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, I'm thankful for a lot of the risks I've taken. Gave me some really amazing memories and experiences in my life. No, I didn't do it for the Snapchat story. You know, most of those times, I mean, especially when you're taking a risk like that, you don't even think about it. Like you're in that present moment. Sometimes it's because you got to be focused. Like it's a certain scenario, but like it's not what matters at the moment. But it's also just kind of part of who I am. I don't know about like I see this kind of characteristic with you sometimes. But I don't know. I it's one of the things I see very deeply with me is I just love to push limits. I love boundaries, whether it's with other people, like other people's boundaries. Like I wanna kind of poke you around, and kind of feel out your boundaries, and then know by how you react. It's like okay, I know how to how to treat you, how to act with you, what I can joke about, what I can't. It. I guess I almost use it as a way to navigate my world.
You make some great points there. So now I want to kind of shift this towards our audience. And Alex, what do you think are the most important points to take away from here? What would you do if you have a fear? Would you how would you find the root cause of that fear, and then how would you, after knowing that root cause, try to overcome it, knowing all of what we just covered right now?
I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can tackle things like that. One is yeah, totally trying to understand it. Um, you know, and if it's something big, like it really, let's just go simple back to the roller coaster thing. If you're scared of roller coasters, research roller coasters. You know, and actually, what you'll find is they are engineered to make it seem like they're on the edge, but they're actually nowhere near. But so yeah, learn as much as you can about the situation, understand it, understand why you're fearing it, and when you understand the situation, a lot of times the why you fear it starts to fall away. But then, that's all that's all nice to say and everything, but just like school, you can't just read and write about things. You have to practice. You have to put it in practice. You need that experience, and that's the only way to really push yourself past that fear is to experience it. And if experiencing it more and more, and eventually it's almost numbing. Um, just like an adrenaline rush from taking my motorcycle around a corner, or back to the coaster thing. Adrenaline rush from the coaster. Eventually, it kind of becomes numbing. But yeah, pushing yourself, because but that first step of kind of learning and understanding about it is kind of what can help you push to that level, to push past and experience the fear if like you're having trouble getting to that.
Back to the whole research thing. What if there's not a lot of research behind it because it's something newer? Let's take for example, the deep sea. We don't know a lot about the deep sea, or even
Are you
something
going
more
deep sea diving or something?
at the depths of the deepest parts of the ocean. We don't know a lot
I
about
mean,
that.
yeah,
What about something that's been going through
something
through
new
the
that pops
globe
into my
right
head
now?
that's risky is vaping. We
Or
don't
what
have
about
long-term research on
those
that.
that are against the COVID vaccine because of the research? Not to get political here,
No,
but
I mean that's a good point. Oh God, yeah, I don't want to get political and get
mhm.
people arguing about things like
but
that, because
but some people, and not to get political here saying you should or shouldn't take the vaccine, but some people might not get it because they have a fear of it, because we don't know the effects of it, right?
yeah, we
So
don't
what do people like?
well, we don't know a lot of the long-term effects of
Mhm.
COVID either. So it's
Correct.
like, which one, I guess, do you fear more?
Exactly.
But then
So it's
again, you're
uncertainty
taking
again, right?
uncertainty, and you're making a decision based off of fear,
Mhm.
and that's
And I feel like that's why
it's caught between a rock and a hard
mhm.
place.
I feel like that's why there was so much fear at the beginning of COVID as well, because it was
Oh
also
yeah,
again uncertainty.
absolutely. I think you hit that on the nose. Everyone was uncertain. It, it is a very you can watch people, like literally just take time to observe people. Why are they fearful of something? Um, a lot of times, it's they don't understand it. It's that simple. Even with politics, like they don't understand the other side, and they don't care to, which is a very close-minded problem to it. But they don't understand the other side, and that's what. And personally, I think a lot of times people don't even understand why they believe something, and that's why they get so irate and angry and defensive when someone says something different, because they automatically view that as a challenge to their views, because they don't even understand why they believe it.
I definitely see that. Bringing it back to fear, then I think for those of you out there that have fears that you want to overcome, is keep an open mind. Make sure that you learn as much as possible about why you're fearful. Find that root cause, whatever it may be. It might be something that a spider might have attacked you in the past, or you don't completely understand something and it's uncertain to you. So if you can find the root cause,
Understand it, learn about
understand
it,
it,
confront it.
exactly, confront it, push yourself into the uncomfortable, because that's how you will grow.
Seek discomfort. That's beautiful, Shandor.
Absolutely.
I love your conclusion right there. I don't think I could have really said it better myself. Really.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why we're here. We love pushing ourselves farther and learning and growing, and we hope you guys listening do too. Is really for you guys to. I mean, yeah, I guess encourage, but you know,
Yeah, we're just here to talk about what we've experienced, and hopefully it
yeah.
helps someone.
Hopefully, our growing and learning and wanting to push past our comfort zone, will be either inspiring or just a nice story that that makes you relate to you doing it. But that's just the whole goal with it all. So thank you for being here with us. Um, it was a great. It was a great.
It was a great episode here.
Great episode about fear.
We're gonna bring it to a conclusion here, and we hope to see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, hope to have you guys listening again.